Hope you all can see my screen, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
So please pass your work. Let's have 1 or 2 topics, then I'll give the time to practice. So then in the afternoon or evening, you can continue with your pending sprints or your revision. So we started with developing a web page using HTML master. We started with structure anatomy of HTML, followed with introduction to semantic, followed with how to style a web page by using CSS. So how to apply CSS, various ways, followed with CSS box, followed with CSS float property. So in box, we have discussed about what? What are all the properties we discussed under box model?
Oh, padding,
Padding,
margin,
border,
radius,
background color,
height, width property, height property, how to calculate the total width, how to calculate the total height.
position.
So followed with display. So followed with float, and we end up in position layout, and then Z index, the appearance. So moving on to the 6th sprint, which is develop a responsive web page using modern CSS master. So we are going to develop a responsive web page for different devices, but not by changing your HTML structure, by applying a CSS, by modifying your CSS. So let's get into the topic. So do you think we should pinch to zoom to read the news content? Are we doing it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So is it required to zoom in when you are in desktop view?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Not necessarily.
So depend upon the screen size, either we will zoom mostly, whenever if you are into mobile screen or tab, we will use to zoom and read the content. It can be a newspaper or it can be study material. So, but when I am in desktop with reasonable screen size width, I will not zoom. So desktop view of New York Times website. So if you feel like you want to zoom in the content, yes, you will zoom in. But if you take your mobile devices, always whenever if you want to read the content and have a clear view, you will go for a zoom in property. Can you read the same content in mobile view without zoom feature?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
No. Yes or no? Both are, I'm accepting. Depend upon the website, depend upon the web page content. Let's assume if the web page is having lots of content and the font size is very small, even though you have a very good eyesight, you have to zoom. Let's assume the content is very less. So they have hardly one paragraph. At that time, the content may be visible. It's not required. So just think about a mobile view of any website. So again, the idea behind first slide and second slide is, so when the website, when we are viewing in desktop, we will not zoom, but when it comes to mobile, when you are using your Safari browser or any of the browser in your mobile and you are viewing the web page content, so in order to have a clear view on the content, we will use the concept of zoom feature. Should we, as a developer, so as of now, I'm talking about customer point of view, when we are a customer to a web application. Think if you are developing this New York Times website, do we create a new website for each screen resolution and device type? So let's assume, So let's assume like no, your father or my husband is doing a business. I want to create a website for his business. Do I create a website for desktop separately? Do I create a HTML, all the elements? Do I develop a website for a tab separately or mobile separately? And we will publish or we will deploy our application?
No, ma'am.
No, definitely not. So think, so we have different screen size, different devices. We are not creating. We are creating one single application. But when I am creating a single application, how that web page? So when we are into web application development, the first tier of your web application is design tier, presentation tier. How the content will be presented, viewed by the user, irrespective of different screen size. A big question mark.
Ma'am, we can make it relative to the pixels on the screen.
As per the device width, ma'am.
As per the device width. As per the device width, you will, that's what I'm asking. Let's assume, this is my Visual Studio. So let's assume you have an image. So in your application, you have an image, you have a paragraph, and you have a div, and you have some 3 paragraphs, and you have some 2 images. So let's assume if you are viewing 1000 pixel width, do you think that, let's assume if you have some 6 tags, if you have 6 tags for fitting your image on your 100 pixel width screen, a big size screen, a desktop screen, you will be having your width property and height property. So same thing if it is 480 or 400 or 500 width screen, will you able to change the image width and property? That's what I'm asking you. For different screen size, are we creating different HTML web pages? Is it practically possible? If it is 6 tabs, quite okay. Think about the real world application which we are using. We are using hundreds of HTML elements. Is it practically possible to adjust the width of? Yeah, it's merely width and height. Is it possible to create? I may not sure. If I am launching a web page, it is not only for Asia countries. The application can be viewed all over the world. Even we are not sure how many devices with different screen size the web pages are using. So nowadays they are also using in your smart TVs. Is it practically possible to control the width of all the HTML element for different devices? Answer is big no. But I want to create a web page that should fit on, let's assume I have an image. So my image width is 500 and the height is 400. So if it is 1000 pixel screen size, so where it is fit, so it may take half of the screen, and based on your arrangement, either the next content will be on the right side or it will be of white space. So if it is 500 pixel with screen, it will be exactly fit on your screen. Same thing if it is less than 500, let's assume 400 with screen size. Only the partial image you can able to see. Image width is 500, but the screen size is 400. Only I can see 90% of image on the screen. It is not the expected output. I want the entire image to be fit on my screen. So what we need to do? So irrespective of any screen size, my HTML needs to adapt. My HTML needs to HTML elements needs to fit, and it has to display the content. It's practically not possible to design 5 different or 10 different web pages with different HTML element width and height. So the one solution is by using CSS, modern CSS properties. Shall I move to next slide?
Yes,
Why these two slide and introductory part is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just playing the video, the same content in desktop view and in the mobile view. Simply, if you take it is in the column view, every content here in the form of row as well as column, different layouts. Okay. Play. Yeah, and sometimes have you noticed this URL of application in your desktop as well as in your mobile? So this happened some 5-6 years back. Have you observed the address bar of browser when we are in e-commerce website? So one is the regular URL. The other one is prefixing with M. Means it is optimized for mobile devices also. Earlier, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about some 5-6 years back. Earlier, if let's say eBay, some 6 years back, eBay developed an application and they deployed for normal devices. And the same eBay has been deployed for mobile. The application has been deployed. The web application has been deployed for mobile devices. So mobile devices will prefixed with M, whereas the other device, you will have a normal URL. So what do you think? It's an additional cost for this company, eBay. So in order to build such site for two different things, one is for normal, the other one is for mobile devices. Again, I'm telling this is not for now. This is for some few years back. I don't know. You have observed this M dot.
No, it's not. It's happens for Facebook also.
Maybe you check now. So earlier when they want to release, yeah, m.facebook.com, m.developer.facebook.com. So for mobile devices, they build such site. They have built a separate site for mobile. The other one is desktop, and they published. That is why we are getting two different URL. Let it be. The left hand side is not mobile optimized. The right hand side is mobile optimized. So this is time consuming. This is cost, involved cost, and of course, double the time cost, and it involves time consuming for web developer. To overcome this problem, we have the concept of developing the responsive web page using modern CSS. I don't want to change anything on my HTML. I just want to work on the property of CSS to fit on to all the type of devices. I want to make it very clear on my introduction slide. So if I have HTML, if I have 6 HTML, I will not do anything with this 6 HTML. I'll be working on what? CSS property. So that CSS property, so I can create it to apply on 5 different screen size. So this can be achieved irrespective of any screen size. My HTML will be fit by creating the respective CSS property. So what are all the property, how to apply it? Let's get into the topic. So in this session, we will be discussing about responsive web page using mobile first approach. How we can develop these type of application CSS property to fit on all devices is, listen, with the help of CSS media query, at media query, breakpoint, flexbox and grid layout, fluid design and layout shift design pattern. So by using this concept, we are gonna to develop a responsive web page for mobile device. First of all, you should know what is responsive web design. A design that adapts itself to various screen sizes and orientation. So let's assume I have designed a web page, demo1.html. So it has to adapt to various screen sizes. Do we discussed about anything related to screen size, orientation in last 4 days? Think and answer. Whether I have introduced any
Yes,
word
ma'am.
related to screen size.
Yes, ma'am.
Viewport.
Very good. Yeah. So in latest HTML5 and the later version, by default, along with structure of your HTML, you will find something called as meta tag, additional information about page. Leave this 4th and 5th line. I have introduced this on first day itself. So 6th line, we have a meta tag and viewport property. What is this viewport? And in viewport, we have 2 attributes. One is content. With any device with my web page needs to fit. And the other one is initial scale. It's a default zoom property. So not only explicitly, inbuilt in HTML5 and later version, this responsive web design has been achieved via viewport. So viewport is a user's visible area of web page. Viewport varies with device. It will be smaller on mobile phone than on the computer screen. Irrespective of tab, mobile phone, desktop, my web page has to be fit on any computer science screen. So this has been default applied to my modern HTML development tool with the help of viewport property. So apart from that, how to adjust my content? Anyway, the web page is fitting on all the type of devices, but how to adjust the content? So that we are going to discuss with various advanced CSS properties. So explore on what is this content width is equal to device width. Based on the device width, my content will be adjusted. I'm not giving any width size, 1000 pixel or 400, 600, no. So let's get into the topic. So design that adapts itself to various screen sizes and orientation. So why? What are all the advantage when it default fit into all screen? Of course, when we are developing such kind of application, we will be having smooth navigation from navigating from one to other. Easy reading, minimum pinching, zoom features. So unnecessarily reducing of scrolling and zooming will be overcome. So definitely it helps in giving the excellent user experience when we are developing the responsive web design. Is this a video? Yeah, I'll play this. It is not arranged in column basis, row with column, no. So since we are viewing in a small mobile devices, automatically the content are getting adjusted. So zoom feature is very less. And definitely it helps in enhancing the user experience. Okay. Why do we need a responsive web design? So web surfing using mobile device has grown at an astronomical speed. So as we all know, there is a statistic study also. Please look into this pie chart. 2020 global smartphone users. So maybe it is 2020 statistics. If you take right now the statistics, I'm sure the usage of smartphone has been increased. So every family, minimum, depend upon the family size. If there were, even if you take mine, we are 3 in numbers, but we have some 5 smartphones, 4 including one tab. So everywhere the smartphone users has increased. If you look into the statistics, Northern America, it is 1,924 million users of smartphone. Latin America, 297. Europe, Middle East, Africa, it is 415. And in Asia Pacific, sorry, it is 1924 million in your Asia Pacific. According to 2020, 3.5 billion users. It may, as of now, it may reach 4 or 4.5. So 80% of people are using only smartphone. 57% are using more than one type of devices. We are all falling under this category. We are using both our laptop, desktop, and our smartphone. So 27% of people uses only, 14% of people uses computer only. I'm not sure with this, this may be reduced also. So definitely, whenever if you are using responsive web design, so web surfing in all the type of devices, it's in use. For that, you need to make your application to adapt in all type of devices. It provides a seamless user experience, of course. So cost effectiveness. What do you mean by cost effectiveness in responsive web design? I have already introduced this some 2 slides back.
Mobile
I
not have
think
to
it should
for
not
mobile and
be
desktop.
costly.
So yeah, so I cannot develop site for each device. That definitely involves cost. So by developing this responsive website, not for each device, so one application can be fit into all the types of device, will not include any additional cost. So it is cost effectiveness. So of course it will adapt on multiple device screen. That is what our discussion is. Easier to monitor analytics as there will. This is also one important point. So we have something called as number of website user. See, we are all using social networking. Are we paying for Facebook? Are we paying for Instagram? Are we paying for YouTube to watch a video?
No, ma'am.
No. Even whereas the other, YouTube is paying for the people who are uploading the videos. So nowadays, in last 2 years after this lockdown, this YouTubers and their it has been increased, and even this Instagram, based on their one post, one photo they have uploaded, one video. And if I talk about simply this movie trailer teaser, so depend upon the view, the number of view, the YouTube video, they are calculating and they are providing some amount to these YouTubers. So do you think it is it applicable for web page also? So number of times the web URL has been clicked, the number of how much amount of time the user spends in the website, all are involved in the right now, the era business data analytics. So if I open a website and if I closed, that will be considered as a click count. If I watched a video the video is for 3 minutes, I watched only for 1 minute, that is also recorded as a data. I have been telling this from day one. We are living in the world of data science. So definitely, let's assume you are developing an application and the application is only one. I am not deployed 3-4 applications for different devices. I have only one application. In such situation, it is easy for us to monitor how many of people have used my application. Click 1. How many clicks has been made on my web application? So this is one usage of developing this responsive web application. Definitely it attracts more users and it increases in more mobile traffic. Even though we have so many mechanisms to overcome this traffic, but okay, shall we get into development mode? Introductory part is clear. Guys,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
so yeah. So in order to develop a responsive web design, we will be using three components in CSS. So one is CSS media query. We will use media query, media, the tag media selector, and you will be applying properties. The other one is flexible images, and the third one is grid system. These are the topics for the day. So responsive web design, so it is one of the primary goal of our web page development. So of course it involves in designing process also. So on that you can achieve application that the web page which has been fit on all the device screen with the help of CSS media query. So media query, so the idea behind the media query is media query will gather all the information about your website, all the content. So let's assume I developed a website for NIT. So I want to display all my course information. My media query will gather all the content, which is my course information I'm going to publish on my website. For this content, for the course information, the CSS will be applied. Depend upon the characteristics of any device, screen size, I will be applying the width or the property of my content. Listen. So based on, sorry, characteristic of the device. So characteristic means I'm talking about screen size. Depend upon the characteristics of device, irrespective of whatever the device I am using, my CSS media query will apply the style to my information. Information is applied to the CSS styles. So let's assume I have all my course information. I'm going to develop a web page for NIT. So here my course content is an information. My media query, I'm going to apply the CSS content for all the course information which I'm going to publish on my website. Irrespective of whatever the screen size I'm going to use, I'm going to apply the CSS property for my course content information. So you decide. So if the content is going to view by 480 pixel screen size or 800 pixel screen size or 1200 pixel screen size. So I will be developing the media query for all the three different screen size. If the user is viewing less than 480, how the content needs to be appear. If it is 800, how the content needs to be appear. If it is 1200, how the content needs to be appear. So whatever the information I'm going to paste it on my web page based on the screen size of the device which I'm going to use, I will be applying the CSS styles. So let's assume I have a paragraph. So I have a paragraph with some 10 lines. So how I will apply for 480 pixel screen size? Let's say mobile screen size. I have a paragraph of 10 lines. How I will apply?
Define a class.
So what exact property? Yeah, of course, we will be defining a CSS class and we will be applying. Can you think anything related to yesterday's topic? So if it is 480 pixels screen and I have a paragraph, and what would be my float property?
Center.
Inherit.
Will it be right? So it will be fit onto right side of my screen. What about, okay, let me ask you, 1200 pixel. Do I want to apply any float? No, the content will be automatically fit on my screen. If it is 800 pixel, I may be applying float is equal to left. So let us apply CSS media query for paragraph, whatever. So whatever the content I'm using, let us apply this. We will use float property. We will use width. If required, we will also adjust the height by using media query along with the screen size of the device, which I'm gonna to use. So from name onwards, any guessing? Flexible images. Whenever if you have an image, HTML element image, what I'm gonna to do? Depend upon the what? Depend upon the size of my screen, the image will be automatically scaling up or down. Flexible image, whenever I'm using the image, the size of the image, I'm gonna to adjust based on the screen size. Or what property you can use when you have an image and when you have a paragraph. Let's assume you are using small devices. How can you adjust the content of image and a paragraph? Any of the property can you recollect in CSS? Please do a revision regularly on CSS. CSS is an ocean. Do we come across something called as overflow, Z index? My paragraph, if I have an image, if I reduce the screen size, automatically overflow CSS property you can use. Or otherwise, no, I want the content to be visible. So you can use Z index. Adapt your image, fit onto your screen. Okay. So moving on to the last. Have you ever came across with the word grid? Grid, the word grid. Grid means? All right. I will not take the word table. Instead of, I will take the word rows and columns. Of course, table. We have one more layout. We are not using that often, which is table layout. Again, table is nothing but combination of rows and columns. So I am going to structure my HTML by arranging the elements in row and column. But here, the row and column combination is called as grid system. But according to the content of my HTML page, I am going to provide the proper proportions in my row with respective column. I'm going to fit my content. And we have various grid layout, fluid grid. Whatever the layouts we are discussing, mostly it will be on grid system. So depend upon my size, automatically no, the rows and columns gets adjusted. Again, I'm repeating, So based on the screen size, I'm gonna to adapt my information with the help of CSS style. That can be achieved with the help of media queries. We will be using the property CSS media. The other one is flexible image. Again, depend upon the screen size width of the device I'm using. My images will get automatically will be fit with or without wide gap, but I'm going to adapt my image on my screen. So whereas the grid system, so as I said, fluid grid system is always based upon the page element size. So equal proportion of content, I'm gonna to paste it in row and column fashion. Again, whenever the screen size varies, it automatically fit on my screen regardless of the size. So these are the different ways of achieving a responsive web design by using CSS properties. So let's get into the first one, which is CSS media query.
And flex layout is not there.
Flex?
Layout, flex box layout.
No. So these are the topics for our day. Let's get into the first one, which is media query. Okay, let me cover the theory and then I'll come to this demo. Create a responsive page content by adding CSS media query for various screen width. See here, for various screen width, I'm gonna to adapt my page content by using media query. So what is media query? It can modify the appearance. Please listen. It can modify the appearance or even the behavior of a website or an app using the set of conditions about user's device, browser, or system setting. So based on the device I'm using, based on the browser I'm using, based on the system setting you have, let's assume in a mobile, we have various settings, no? Full screen view, and also in the, or what is the technical term in mobile?
Desktop.
The view. There is one, oh my God, that widgets are not coming into my mind. So I have set in my mobile. My husband used to do in one corner of the screen. Let's assume bottom right corner of the screen, he will keep the entire screen and he will be using. I don't know. It was popular some 4-5 years back and still it is in there. What is the name?
And multitasking.
No, I'm not talking about multitasking. If let's
That's-
assume I'm using WhatsApp. Instead of using my WhatsApp in my entire mobile screen, we will what to say that? I'm thinking
Pop-up
about the
One
picture.
screen display.
Pop-up
So
views.
my WhatsApp will be there in bottom right corner. So it will take only 40% of my screen size, but I'm using WhatsApp only. Then in iPhone, sometimes mistakenly, no, my hand will go to that, then I'll enlarge it to the full screen. Let's assume that is a default screen
Pop-up.
set.
Pop-up.
I get it, I'll share. Let's assume I made that setting in my mobile phone. In such situation, my screen, my web page has to appear only 40% of my screen. As I said, bottom right side. So all these can be applied by using media queries. It is a popular technique to deliver tailored style sheet to all the devices, desktop, tablet, laptop, and mobile. These can be also used to check width and height of viewport, width and height of device, whether it is a landscape or a portrait view, and the resolution of the screen. So followed with viewport. So viewport is the area that is visible to the user in a web page. So let's assume I have constructed a web page. So, but whatever the visible area that the user can able to view in my web page, that falls under the category viewport. So that's what I'm telling. Initially, this viewport property has been all in latest HTML page, and the width has been adjusted based on the device with which I'm using. The content of my HTML page will be adjusted accordingly. What is this initial scale?
And this is the zoom in property.
Correct. Which is a default, or I can say initial zoom level. So even if you are using a camera or whatever the thing in your mobile, by default, it will have its initial zoom level. If you want additionally, you can zoom in your photo or zoom in your content. But apart from that, whatever the default initial level, whenever web page gets loaded in my browser, so this you can set with the help of view metadata initial scale property. So meta tag initial scale property. So the default width and height of screen, default width and height of device, it will automatically check and it will adjust whatever the view I am using. Okay, let's have a simple demo. Let's have 1 or 2 demos. I can use this. So requesting all of you to pay attention. So let's take the simple demo. I placed one image and I have placed 2 paragraphs. So there is an image and there were 2 paragraphs. This lorem content is a default. So one default paragraph kind of a thing which will come. If you type lorem and tab, you will get this paragraph. So either go right click inspect or you can view under development tool. These are the 2 different ways to toggle to your development tool and you can change the resolution of your screen. So I'm sure this part is familiar to you. You will get this via inspect also. But today I want all of you to use this option. Right click inspect or go to tools, go to developer option. You will find something called as toggle device emulation. So the same website you can view in different screen sizes. So when you inspect, you will be finding this icon, toggle device emulation, click. So you will be finding various devices. How in various devices it is getting fixed. Why it is getting fixed, by the way? See, if I view in iPhone 12 Pro, my content will appear like this. If it is in iPad mini, my content will appear with this white space. If it is in Samsung Galaxy, it appears in Y. By default, it has been added. I'm asking you guys because of
These are the basic UI.
by default, the web page which I have developed is automatically fit into these devices because of this line, because of this viewport property. So let's continue. Let's assume I want to create a responsive web page by adding CSS media query or various screen width. So I am developing the web page. I will not touch any of this HTML structure. Once if I define the HTML structure, this remains same throughout. Only thing is based on the screen size, I want to change the view of my HTML element. So that you can achieve with the help of media query, and it is a style property, CSS property. So include your style tag. Guys, please pay attention. And the syntax for media query is @media screen. So followed with @media only screen. And so let me have minimum width. If minimum width is 400 pixel, what I want to do, this is just a demo. I want to make background color as, do we have any green?
You are writing in the media only screen curly braces.
Correct. For my body and for my paragraph. Oh my God. No, we have to write. So this is a syntax. I should use media only screen, and we have various minimum width, maximum width. I'll show you all the properties. If my screen size became 400 pixel and less than 400, let's assume I want background color to be aqua, and my paragraph, this is just for paragraph, paragraph color will be brown. Okay, it's a simple demo, guys. So what I'm doing is, let's assume I'm going to launch this web page, and if it is viewing in a normal device, 1000 pixel, 800 pixel, the content will be visible as such. If suppose, if I am viewing this web page in a device having the minimum width of 400, what will happen? I am applying this property. If it is 400 pixel and less than any of the screen size, my body will be automatically changed into background color, and my paragraph. I know mostly we will be dealing with width and height. Just for the introduction to media query, I'm dealing with this example. So when I'm changing my screen size 400 and less than 400, automatically these two property will be enabled. But in order to adjust the screen size, we will be always dealing with width. But in order to show the demo for this media query, I'm using this. Let me give screen only. It's working. One second.
380, 380.
Yeah, no, it's working. I want it to be minimum width.
You ma'am apply minimum width and then put in 380.
Let's do and. It should come. So the idea behind thing is, if it is 400 and above, 400 and above width into height. If it is 400 and above, I want these properties to apply. If it is less than 400, it will not apply. That is how this minimum and maximum get differs. If it is 400 and above, it is not applying. If it is 400 and less, then it is applying. Guys, listen, it's working. So I'm going to apply the media query, max width of 400. So whichever the devices, 400 and less than 400, maximum of 400. From 0 to 400, when I have a width screen size of 400, maximum of 400. If it is 401, this will not be applied. Guys, requesting all of you to pay attention. So I'm gonna to apply media only to the screen along with I'm applying maximum width property. So whichever the screen size is having maximum of 400, this style will be applied. What is the style? One is I'm gonna to make my background color as this aqua and my paragraph color will be changed into this burly wood color. Inspect it. So if it is 395, 396, 97, 98, 99 and 400, till 400, the style will be applied. If it is greater than 400, any type of device, maximum of 400 and above, the normal style will be applied. Is that clear?
Yes,
So what will happen if I make the change as minimum width?
More than 400. The style will be applied.
So 400 and above.
Yeah.
So if it is 401, the style will be applied. If it is less than 400, so minimum device of having the width 400 and above, the style will be applied. So likewise, I want to control the content visibility on my screen depend upon the screen size by using media query. Only on my screen and the maximum width, minimum width So it may differ starting from 480, 600, 7, 900, depend upon the screen size, you may differs. So minimum of 400 and above, this property will be applied. Whatever the style I am applying, this will be applied. Whereas 400, if it is 399 also, the screen size having 399, the style will not be applied. So I want all of you to try this demo. I'm giving you 5 minutes time. By the way, please inspect your device. So right click, inspect toggle for different emulation and apply this media query. Either you can go for minimum width. So 400 and minimum means 400 and above. Maximum means 400 and below. Inclusive of the value, by the way. So minimum, maximum, and also we have orientation, landscape, portrait. Anyway, we cannot experience this, but you can change the different under responsive. You can change the different width and you can try. So I'm giving you 5 minutes time to try this. I'm not sharing the code. You can try. You can have one image, one paragraph, apply this media query and try the same.
Ma'am,
Yes, Pa.
ma'am, what if we are, what if what if we are using the external CSS, then where will we put this?
You can use. It's no matter you are using external or internal. Second example. Media query.